I have got precisely 1 hour and 10 minutes until I have an appointment. So I am going to do this in a single take, hopefully. I'm not going to mess about changing the camera or anything like that. Just going to leave it rolling for the entire session. So sorry in advance if you're expecting something different, but to be fair, that's all this is. So I need to run through, get warmed up nice and quickly, get through the session quickly, and that's it. Now, today is the start of the taper. So the good thing is, that means that there's nothing super hard. So it's not going to be crazy in terms of what I actually need to do. And also, today's session is, so this is day 1 of the week, which is going to be benching. It's a touch and go bench, but with as fast a turnaround as possible now. So work sets are only 110. So it won't take too long. Just warm up to them. These at the right height. Not sure how much I'll be able to talk through things with trying to do this slightly quicker, but I will try. Might be more of a test of fitness than of strength today. I'm probably going to go in and out of shot a bit, because like I say, don't want to mess about changing the camera too much, just to make sure I get everything done. I always use this board when I'm benching, so it's the same every time, so I know that I'm in the middle and I'm central when I'm pressing. So first warm up, just 60. Nice and easy. Fast juice. So it's not super early, but it is early, and I got a very busy day today, so I need to get everything done. I had the choice of either coming in now and getting a lift and then having a rush to get through things, or I could have waited and come in later on today. But if I'd have came in later on today, it would have meant that I'd have to walk in and back. And whilst I like walking, that would be the better parts of 90 minutes. The better part of 2.5 hours walking, and I don't really have the time to do that today. And also, with being closer to the competition, my activity now is actually coming down because I'm trying to recover. I don't want to do the same amount of stuff. Now granted, it's only walking, it's not like it's hard stuff, but it still wears on the legs, like the tiniest amount, but still some. So 100 kilos, this will be the last warm-up, just putting the velocity on, bench press, not paused. 100. Okay. Hopefully this is nice and quick. Yeah, that's fine. Wasn't as quick as I'd like, but then I mean, you've seen me just warm up. Like I'm warm. wouldn't say I'm like perfectly primed. And this is one of those things of where like sometimes there is a trade-off of where it maybe is not optimal, but sometimes suboptimal is optimal because you can actually get the things done that you need to. So if I'd have done the alternative option that I said about of waiting to come and train later, there's a significant chance that I would have just run out of time to train today. And that to me seems far worse than just having like not quite as good training. So 110. Supposed to have 3 minutes rest between these, but not really gonna have time to do that. We'll time them a little bit. So clear all the apps, all 3 of them, just so that I can focus on what I'm doing. 5 sets of 3 reps. Right. Set number 1. Set 1 done. I think they were quicker than 100. Peaceful. I didn't put any music on, just because I was trying to make sure I did have everything done. So at the minute, it is the beginning of November. So we always get a mad rush at the gym at this time of year. I think people wanting to get in shape before Christmas or something like that. So we're really busy with that. And then I'm running 14 strong at the minute. So we've got about 150 people taking part, which is cool. It's basically like 2 weeks of coaching with me, essentially. Short of me, I'm not actually giving people a program, but I'm going through, reviewing their training, their technique, teaching them, educating, that sort of stuff. So that takes a lot of time. And then just obviously looking after my athletes as well. So today is just a day of back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I've got in here 50 grams of vegan protein powder, 10 grams of peanut butter powder, some squirts of salt, grinds of salt, whatever the correct term is, and water. And then I have got the best monster, the mango one. I do like the white one, but this one's got carbs in. The white one does have carbs in, but barely any. Like, not enough that it's going to make a significant impact to my daily calories. Anyway, that's been 2 minutes. Set 2. That was actually faster. Yeah, so the fact that this is getting faster means I probably wasn't actually warmed up properly, but it's light enough. I hate what I'm about to say. It's light enough that I can get away with it, which is stupid. You shouldn't try and get away with it. But here I am doing stupid things. What's the phrase? Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. It's not a surprise that my elbow's hurt right now, is it either? But that should get better over the next week or 2. So now we just wait. So after this, so I'll run through this week. So this week is the concentric loading. So today I've got the bench press, some dumbbell press, front raise and triceps. Tomorrow I've got some squats, some RDLs, some Hatfield squats, and some box jumps for a little bit of explosion, because power doesn't take very long to train, the actual faster side of things. Just a week or two is enough. Then Thursday is bench again, some rows, curls, dead simple. Saturday, touch and go bench, pause bench, actually properly now, 3 singles, RPE 9. So last week I did 150 for touch and go reps. So this week I'll see if I'll probably do 150, if not 155 for some pause reps. Then Sunday, best day of the week. If you watched any of these, you already know. So squats, again, single at 9. So last week I did 255. That's probably still about an 8. So I'll maybe go 260. We'll see. Deadlift, similarly, single at 9. Maybe 240-ish. I don't know, all my deadlifts are at a 10. It's difficult to tell. And then it'll be a deload. Right, set 3. Feels like nothing. I suppose it is a really low percent. Well, 100 would be like 66%, so 110, like 72, 73% maybe. So I suppose it's not nothing, but for triples and for, I'm gradually starting to get peaked. So power's gradually like climbing up and up and up. As fatigue goes down, down, down. Fatigue is still, I mean, this is only the first session of this, so fatigue is still very high. Like my elbows, like I keep saying, are sore, but they're not. It's not tennis elbow or golfer's elbow. It's not in the muscles. It's the actual joints from the wear and tear of just the heavier loading. I get it in my elbows, my hips, my knees. Exercise is good for you. I only get it when I start a peaking phase from about 5 weeks out to about a week and a half, 2 weeks out. Is just like that total load. Again, I've said about this before, I don't train that heavy in general. So when I do, it takes a lot out of me. There's 2 ways of looking at that. 1 is train heavy more often to get used to it. 2 is to train light and then accept when it's a time it's going to be more uncomfortable. I've gone with option 2 because option 1 interferes with everything outside the gym too much. So like once this competition's done, if I still had to keep training just as heavy all the time, I would still be knackered all the time. My elbows would still hurt, my knees would still hurt or whatever, which is not ideal. Whereas the way I train and the way that I am doing it with a lighter and then coming up for a peak and then back down to like easy levels, it means that it's more sustainable long term. And so this time, in 3 weeks time, I'll be completely fine. I'll be able to function, go back to training just like for building a base and for fun and everything else, until the next time it's like, right, now let's peak. And I'd like to think the next peak I'll be aiming for around that 700 mark. Right, next set. That third one wasn't great. I moved a bit too quick off the start, and so I touched a bit too high on my chest, but it's fine. So nutrition wise, I'm still on 4,200 calories. Protein aimed for 200. I usually end up about 220-ish because I try and I try and eat 4 times a day. With each time, I try and have about 50 grams of protein. So it ends up being slightly over sometimes. So I try and think about the protein as from a good source of protein. And so something with a high bioavailability and a large variety of amino acids. So you're getting more complete protein throughout the day. But that means that you get trace protein from everything else. Potatoes being the big thing that I get a lot of protein from. So it's not that I don't count that towards my protein, but that ends up bumping it slightly up above the 200 for the day. 4 sets done. This isn't going too bad for time. I will just sit here and wait. So after this one, it'll be flat dumbbell press, which should be fine. Right, that's long enough. Next set. So this is the last set, so it's going to be the best set, because your last attempt on a day needs to be your best attempt. That was not the best set. It sucked. So that is bench done. Nice and simple. So 0.59, which I did on one of the reps, is actually the fastest I've ever benched 110. So that's cool. So dumbbell press next, 3 sets of 6 to 10 at an RPE of 7. What I will be doing is doing them not incredibly fast turnaround, because I think it's a bit risky with the dumbbell press, but fairly fast turnaround, similar to the bench. I will use the 30s for this. That's a reasonable weight. And like I said before, the next jump up is 42.5s, which is quite a big jump up, and the risks to reward, it's not really worth it. But when it gets more into like the off season, then I could justify making that jump a bit better. It would make more sense. So let's move this over here so you can now see the dumbbells. So this is the board. I don't know how well you'll be able to see this with my markings drawn on it. So that's the rig, that's where the bench goes, where the bench goes, where the rig goes. So I can make sure the bench is in the same central place each time. So dumbbell press, I'm gonna go this way, because then the dumbbells are right in front of me. And then I'll bring my drinks through here. If you're still watching at this point, then you should like do a thumbs up and subscribe and whatever, because you're still watching. So first sets. Here's another thing for warming up, right? If you've just done loads of one movement and you're going to something very similar and you're not going particularly heavy, you can go straight to the working weight. I wouldn't necessarily always do that, but in a rush for time, these dumbbells are light. I can press more than this, but I'm not, for the reasons I have mentioned many a time. So let's go. 10 reps. Nice and easy. I prefer to do them slow and controlled, but in this phase of training, the whole point is to do it a bit more violently, a bit faster. I realise they still probably look slow because I still am trying to control them, but in comparison to what I would normally do, and especially to how I would do with hypertrophy, they feel wrong. They feel like I'm doing them incorrectly. So that is set 1 of 3 done. Let's get some of these plates off between sets. Because that's the other thing too. Not only do I have an appointment as soon as this is done, but we have members in. So I need to get all this stuff cleared away as well. It's not just that I need to be done, I need to tidy all this. Another reason why I really like training on a weekend is because I can just leave stuff out as much as I want. I wonder if the mic will survive this whole time, or if it'll just die on me. Right. Set 2. This is also something I wouldn't normally want to do, is just keep going without having my breath. Like I say, different priorities. When you're picking up dumbbells, if they're only light, it means you can pick them up with a fairly rounded spine without it causing any real issues, especially if you train your spine in a rounded position as well. So like these are only 30s, so relatively they're not that heavy for this. So I can pick them up in that position there instead of having to do a full-blown deadlift. Right. Set 2 done. Oh, just trapped my finger. Just caught my finger between the bar and that plate. Definitely gonna have to cut that off. Probably need to go straight to A&E. I should check the time, shouldn't I? I think I've been training now for about 35, maybe 40 minutes. So, let's have a look. You know what? No, I'm not going to have a look. I'm just going to try and keep moving so I can get through it quicker. Okay. That's it. Done with them. I do these with my feet up because I like them to be consistent. I also find it easier to get in position with my feet up And I don't like to be in a massive arch position when I do them because it slightly reduces the range of motion. So as long as my upper back is tight and stable, that's fine by me. Right, next up is front raises. I'll go get some dumbbells. So when you're using benches at gyms, if you put the dumbbells like that, it puts pressure on the upholstery there, and so it can cause this to split, and so whoever owns your gym won't be very pleased. Whereas if you put them this way, as long as they're small, it's not too bad. When they're the bigger and thicker ones, that will cause the same amount of pressure. It can cause them to tear. As soon as they get a little tear, they get worse and worse and worse. So, if you can, it's probably better not to leave dumbbells on benches. So don't do that, like I just did. Put them on something that's designed for it. That was set 1 of 3. Same parameters of sets of 6 to 10, about RP 7-ish. So 2 more of them, and 3 sets of push downs. And hopefully I get it done inside the hour. Just put this bar away as well. Right. Oh. You might or might not notice different sessions when I've done these over the past few weeks. The technique has been changing. So in an eccentric phase, it'll be up, maybe a bit of a swing, and then trying to slowly lower it down as much as possible. The next phase, the isometrics, is about the pauses. And then this phase, the concentrics, is trying to get it moving as quick as possible and trying not to use my legs and back and stuff. They will get involved to a certain extent, but it's trying to use your shoulders for that driving force, like for that driving force when you bench. I didn't think about, what do I do if I need to pee? Do I leave this in here whilst I go and pee? Bear in mind the microphone's attached to me. Or do I take this with me into the bathroom? I think if I did, I'd probably have to find somewhere different to upload this video, and maybe not onto YouTube. I don't know. Fortunately, I've not got a right lot left. set 3 and those done. Next, push downs. So put these away and I will move over there. So we've got 3 sets of, oh, my shoulders are burning, that's good. 3 sets of 6 to 10 push downs. So let's put this up, see if that covers it. It does cover it. Look at that, it's handy, it's already set up. Same thing here, if it's the concentric I want. I like to push my bum back a bit so I get the angles. Just kidding, except maybe not really, who knows. Well, clearly that's too light. So again, I don't want to say I forgot in the first rep, but I obviously wasn't doing it properly in the first rep. Did a bit of a pause when it should have been more of a continuous movement. That's 1 set, 2 more to go. Drinks just there. Maybe I'll move them. So yeah, just 2 more sets to go. And then that's it for the session. So that's not too bad actually. I'm hoping that this has been less than an hour. It must have been, because this session normally only takes me about an hour, maybe a bit longer. Let's go up. This sucked. So, as you get towards a competition, obviously you're going to get stronger, but you will intentionally be reducing the fatigue of other movements. You don't want to go crazy and start maxing out on tricep push downs or whatever when you're really close to a competition. The whole point is to remove the fatigue from other exercises so that your competition lifts are as strong as they can be. So for example now, I won't be doing any more like curls or lateral raises or whatever because it's irrelevant for the competition. In a week, 2 weeks, you're not going to lose any appreciable amount of muscle. Like you might lose a bit of a pump, but like, who cares? You know, it's a short-term thing. So when you start training again, I'll get bigger again and be back to normal. So, 1 very last set, and then get to work. The good thing about training early-ish is that once it's done, you know you've probably done the most difficult thing you'll have to do for the day. Unless you don't train very hard, like I don't. So then the day's just going to get harder after that. But yeah, I do like training first thing. Unless it's like a squat or a deadlift. I don't like doing that first thing. That's it, that'll do. Again, nothing crazy. So, I will now tidy up, well, turn the camera off, tidy up, go. Let's see how long this was. 35 minutes. That is ridiculous. And also goes to show you just how quickly you can train, or I can train. I'm clearly being very lazy normally. Yeah, that's mad. See you tomorrow.